Hey, how's everyone doing? It's your boy Jeff. Got my co-host Zach Cooper. We're going to be reacting to Kane versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 14, I want to say. Yeah, 14 in 1998. This is going to be recorded, my part, on a Friday. I wanted to get to it Wednesday when Kane properly gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, or not properly, but like on the bump. Undertaker told Kane that, like, hey, you're going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So it'd have been full circle, but your boy's been busy, and literally overnight, not necessarily my area, but like a city 45 minutes away from me, got hit hard with tornadoes, and it was storming like crazy. So I'm like in the process of rebooting everything. But I was able to see the match. I took my notes on an iPad, rebooting my computer and everything now. But let's just go ahead and get this underway. We don't need to hear about all that. We need to get the match underway. So here we go. We need to get the review going. So Pete Rose comes out and he's talking some smack to the Boston crowd because, you know, baseball player talking crap to the Boston Red Sox. Hey, I mean, this is a good way to get your heat, you know? And he says, like, how they can't win a World Series, and he just takes a lot of shots and digs at the pro Boston Red Sox crowd. And the lights come down as Pete is introducing Kane. Kane tombstones Pete Rose, which becomes like a gag for a few years. That's what Zach was telling me. So, note taking. We need to react to the next Kane match at WrestleMania so he can tombstone Pete Rose and we can talk about it. Pete then gets stretchered out in the process. Taker makes a special, like, entrance with, like, a bunch of, like, the guys with the thing over their head with, like, the torches or whatever. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool Undertaker entrance. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw the beginning of it and I just skipped through because I'm trying to see the match. Taker then brings the fight to Kane pretty early, and he brings the fight to him first, but it doesn't really seem to phase little brother Kane. Kane hits a clothesline shortly thereafter. Taker sits up. Kane goes for a tombstone early, but he ends up kind of placing Taker in the corner and beating him up. I wonder if that was done on the fly, if that was like, oh crap, I can't get him all the way up, so I got to place him in the corner and kind of prolong that spot. I don't know what happened there. Don't want to read too much into it. But Kane is taking the attack to Taker in the corner and, like, just in general. Paul Bearer is talking smack to the Undertaker. Kane would hit a rolling clothesline on the back of Taker's head, which is, like, kind of through the middle ropes. Good agility from Kane, which is going to be a common trend. Good power, good agility from Kane at this point in his wrestling career as Kane. Kane is then beating up the Undertaker in the corner with some punches. Taker then hops on Kane's shoulder. It looks like he's trying to lock in some sort of submission or try to get some punches off. But Kane kind of drops Taker, but it looked kind of weird because, like, Kane's legs hit before Taker's, like, head and arms were able to hit. So it looked a little sloppy, but, I mean, that's just a timing thing, unfortunately. The fight goes to the outside. Kane drops Taker onto the railing, head first onto the steel railing on the guard railing or whatever from the crowd. He slams Taker on the steps, and then Kane would use the steps on the Taker while the ref is being distracted by Paul Bearer. He does this twice. Paul Bearer then comes over there and, like, attacks the Undertaker while Kane's rolling in the ring, distracting the ref this time. Kane would then superplex Taker back into the ring from the apron all the way back inside of the ring. Good power, good balance from Kane to be able to pull that off. Because, you know, they're both like two damn near 7-footers, 300 pounds. I mean, that shit ain't easy. Trust me. Taker tries to rally back into the fight, but Kane ends up chokeslamming the Undertaker. Kane goes for the pin, and he picks up Taker after the 2 count, and JR's alluding on commentary, like, you had him beat. It was over. And you're picking him up to inflict more damage, you know, and it's just funny. But, I mean, in the way that the fight was going, yeah, I guess you should say that. Taker fights out of a headlock, a long headlock, but Kane chokes or clotheslines him down. Kane is able to hit a running elbow. Taker counters a long headlock shortly thereafter. by placing him over the apron, just lifts him up and says, "Here, you're going right here. Stay right there for a second." Taker then boots Kane off the apron, but Kane lands on his feet like it didn't faze him. And then Taker goes for a dive. Kane sidesteps him and uses his own momentum against him to send him crashing through the announce table. It was one of the Spanish or French announce tables. I wasn't sure, but it wasn't main announce table. The fight goes back inside the ring now. Kane hits a flying clothesline off the top rope. Taker kicks out at 2. Kane continues to hammer Taker down with some punches. Taker and Kane would then trade punches shortly thereafter. Taker goes for a tombstone. Kane, in an effortless counter and an effortless transition, would reverse Taker's tombstone into his own, and Taker barely kicks out of his own finisher, or I guess their finisher now, at 2.75 or 2.9. It was really close. Taker unleashes more punches and hits a clothesline on the Kane. Taker then hits Kane with a choke slam and then a tombstone, but Kane kicks out. And JR was alluding in commentary that no one had ever kicked out of a tombstone from The Undertaker up to this point. So a very significant moment right here when it comes to the legacy of the finisher known as the Tombstone Piledriver. Taker would then hit another running leg drop and another tombstone, and Kane kicks out again. So not only did this guy kick out of one tombstone, he kicked out of 2 tombstones. It's like, damn, we were just talking about how no one kicked out of a tombstone, and you did it twice in the same match. Good for you, man. Kane sits up shortly thereafter. Taker hits a flying clothesline. Taker sits up again. Or Kane sits up again after Taker hits the flying clothesline. Taker then hits a third tombstone for the 3 count. And if you watch the finish of the match, Kane technically kicked out at like 3.1, 3.2. So it's like, it kind of made him look strong. Like, okay, it was just enough, but like not really in the same sense. After the match, Paul Bearer attacks Taker and tells Kane, you know, we got to get him. Got to get the Undertaker. Got to finish it. And then Taker drops Paul Bearer. Kane would then hop up and grab the steel chair that Paul Bearer brought into the ring. He beats up Taker with it, and he tombstones Taker onto the chair to get his heat back. And Taker would sit up shortly after Kane and Paul Bearer leave. So there's a little bit to get through. When you factor in all of the pre-match and post-match and the match itself, it was like 28 minutes, 30 minutes. It was pretty close. But I'm going to give all this a 3 out of 5. And I'm going to be honest, what's really knocking it for me is the long headlocks. Like, it just felt like it was forever. But, like, the action was, you know, pretty standard for these two. Pretty good stuff. And it was a great showcase for Kane. Again, WWE is doing a great job, or WWF at the time was doing a great job with Kane when he got brought in. And that's one of the things I got to give him props for. They made him so strong that he kicked out of not 1, but 2 Tombstone Piledrivers. No one had ever kicked out of a Tombstone Piledriver up to that point, and Kane did it twice in the same match. So they did a great job building him up. They did a great job showcasing his agility and how he's got a strong pain threshold. And, you know, they did an awesome job of just making Kane look like the ultimate final boss badass. And Taker, he keeps his WrestleMania streak alive. And, you know, that's going to be very coveted for him moving forward, obviously, for a very long time. It would be one of the things that defines The Undertaker other than its character work. So, great stuff right there. And hopefully you guys enjoy my reaction and Zach's reaction. And we'll try to crank more of these out, man. If we could stop getting bad weather and stuff to come up on my end, we can get these matches out, because we all know Peacock with their stupid deal with WWE, they're going to get rid of all this crap. So we're going to try our best to get it out for you.